Welcome into another edition of the Holton and Show. The guest everyone's been waiting for. It's been a while now. Everyone's tweeting about him. We'll see you on the other side. Hope you enjoy the show. If not, as always.
Holton Nailers turns, and Holton will take off and run himself. He's at the 40-yard line. Holton Nailers to the 30. Look at him go. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Pirates.
There's local politics, bud.
It's showtime!
Well, this may be the biggest guest, Caiden, of all time. Everyone welcome in Shawnee Mitch Patrick. Welcome in.
Well, hey, was that a fat joke, by the way? Biggest guess? Right out of the gate?
Clip Brock, welcome into the show. So we have Donnie at the other end of this. We just wanted Clip to come in and join the pod, boys.
I think that was a fat joke.
It was not a fat joke.
I miss Donnie.
Me too. Me and Caiden do too.
I miss the interviews.
Yeah. That's why we got him on this.
At least they were exciting.
Absolutely. Hilarious guy.
He was. So, Clip, welcome in to the pod. Feels like we've done a lot of shows together, but never one of these.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Very relaxed atmosphere.
Yes.
Yeah, welcome to our world.
You make it very comfortable in here.
Yo, Cliff, we've been in your world, but you've never been in ours.
I know.
Like this. So
I'm looking at Clip to lead the conversation, because I always do, and I'm looking at the wrong person.
Taking a back seat here, boys.
Yeah, so Clip, we just want to talk. Obviously, it's fifth quarter. We get a lot of call-ins and stuff. We just wanted to kind of dive in, take 15 minutes or so, just talk ball. We had a bye week, don't have a game currently to talk about other than looking forward to Army. But at the halfway point, how are you feeling about this ECU season and going forward? Me and Caden are kind of optimistic. How are you feeling?
Not great. A lot of it is like I don't want to be a hot take guy, and if I say something, I want to stand by it. If I get something wrong, I want to apologize and say I got that wrong instead of going the opposite direction. And I've said for a year, if Mike Houston loses to Biff 2 years in a row, that's a fireable offense. And I can't back off of that now. So, but being 3-3 where we are, the quarterback situation, the turnover situation, I expected more. What was really disheartening last game was the defensive effort, and hopefully that is just something that happened on that particular Saturday and won't continue, because if we did have one thing going for us, it was a solid defensive effort week in, week out for Blake Harrell's guys. But 3-3 is not good. Year 6, I expected more offense, and I expected to beat Charlotte. Charlotte really has me down, guys. I'll say that.
I think it definitely has us down too. Now, it is a fireable offense. We've both said that. We've publicly said that, Caden. As much as we like Coach Houston and respect him as a person, but it is a fireable defense. But at the same time, was it one of those games where like everything just that could have went wrong? Your starting middle linebackers out. Obviously, Savon's out for the year. So like defense, we didn't look that great, but we still had the D-line who was there, who has been there, and we got ran all over.
5-6 year guys. That was kind of the disappointing part of that game, which we just got demolished right in the interior, which should be our strongest part of our team. And I agree with you guys. Like, that was tough. That was a tough watch. But sometimes I think about when we travel to like a game like a Temple game.
Yeah.
Or a game like maybe like Tulsa as well.
South Florida,
those crowds that there's not many people there. There's some games that I don't know what it is. It feels like momentum of life and energy is just drained out of a team, and I'm hoping that's what happened last week to that defense.
Charlotte's game was sold out, though.
No, I know.
Stadium was small.
No, I know. But there's some games there's just like you don't feel like you should be there. I'm just hoping that was a big blunder last week, because we got the number 1 rushing offense in the nation coming.
Yeah. And Holton, one thing you said that stood out to me, you've been there, and you said it looks like a team that went in expecting to win and win rather easily and didn't need to take it serious. That bothers me, but also, hey, okay, does that mean it's a one-off? And we're going to show up in New York this Saturday, and we're going to show up against Navy and show up against all these other teams. So if that's the case, then it stinks, because you're behind the 8 ball already with a loss to Charlotte, a game
Agreed.
that you should have. Hate to use the phrase "should," but they should have won that game. You would think.
Caden has some stats. He called me yesterday, fired up about this Army game. So, Caden, spit off your stats that you were talking about and why we're optimistic about it. Because I was a little optimistic, but not as much as I am now because of these stats that you read off.
So I hate feeling so optimistic about this team, Clip, kind of like you said, because I just feel like I've just been so optimistic and then so let down week after week, being 3-3. But I was looking at it, I'm like, all right, these guys are the number 1 ranked offense in the nation. You have Bryson Daly, who's just an absolute stud of a quarterback, especially a triple option quarterback. But they've played Lehigh, which is a wash, FCS. They played FAU, 83rd ranked defense, 122nd ranked rush off defense. Rice, 37th ranked defense, which is nice, 83rd ranked rush D. They also played the 126th rush D. 90th rush D in Tulsa, 132nd rush D in UAB. Like, they've played nothing but the bottom of the barrel of rush defenses. And not the best offensive either, so I don't want to go through all that. So if there's one area that I'm feeling optimistic, and we just kind of talked about, is hopefully last week that was a one-off, and our most experienced part of our team can come in and play a disciplined game. Because if there's one thing about Mike Houston, and I'm critical about Mike Houston, I know Holton is more like on the loyal.
I've been critical. I'm just not saying he should be fired now. We can't financially afford.
But he knows how to defend a triple option offense. Yeah. That's one thing I would say is one of his strongest defensive suits is a triple option offense. And Army just hasn't seen a good defense this year. They've won the games like we think we should have won, which we've lost. But they've taken advantage of these weak defenses and ran wild all over them.
This is an opinion, but I feel like it could be used as a fact. ECU will be Army's toughest opponent to this point.
100%.
No, 100%.
Like that, yeah, fact on that. And also we looked at it, Blake Harrell we look at Navy because we hadn't played Army in a while, but like Blake Harrell's defenses have done generally well against that option attack. I know it's not the same, but somewhat similar. They gave up 10 points last year.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Blake Harrell, too, is Blake Harrell also has a triple option background. When he was at Kennesaw State, they ran the triple option there, so he practiced against it at least during camp every single day, during the offseason every single day. Then Coach Houston obviously has been to multiple, or he's been to the Citadel, Lenore Ryan, they ran it. So, like, he's been at places that literally know how to defend it. And that was one thing, Caiden, when he came in that he really preached. Like, I remember our first Navy game, and we talked about that. We'll talk about it with Donnie here in a few. But, like, we knew going into it, like, from playing – just them coaching it, like from the defensive players' perspective, they coached it way different than any other week because they had so much experience with it.
And one thing about that is Coach Houston's preparing for Navy, now Army, spring ball, winter workouts, summer ball, and then the bye week, that's all they're focusing on. Now, luckily this year, this triple option went right into this bye week went right into the triple option game. But the one thing I'm really concerned about is, all right, let's say our defense shows up, right? What about our offense? What if we go too quick? Because Army ranks 4th in time of possession, and that scares me.
All right, top of your head, real quick. Don't even think about it. How many points does ECU score against Army?
Well, I watched Army last week. Do you want it off the top of my head?
Give me a number first.
Okay, 24.
Okay.
I was literally going to say 24. So
do you know what their high is allowing so far this year?
I know they average like 9.8.
They've given up 14 twice, 7 3 times, and 10 in the other game. 14 is their max all year.
I think Hauser will look better than last week because I think Hauser's starting. I know people are talking about that. I think Hauser's the guy going forward. I think he's going to look better. I mean, he played in the Big Ten. He started against big-time teams. Like, he'll be prepared to play.
So I watched that UAB game against Army, and UAB's quarterback, those receivers were creating space, getting open, and that quarterback just couldn't hit a receiver to save his life.
Yeah.
So I really think our receivers are going to take advantage of the Army's defensive backs. It's just, can we have a quarterback take advantage of that or throw inconsistently like we've seen all year? That's the biggest question mark.
I was going to ask you guys, did you ever do any scout team stuff as an option offense while at ECU?
I did. I hated that week.
Yeah.
It's just like all year they're not allowed to touch you, which is nice in practice.
And that week it gets physical?
That week it gets physical.
Oh.
Gabe would always be so grumpy after those practices.
Yeah. Well, as a quarterback, you don't get touched all year long. And then especially a backup quarterback, you're not getting touched. And then you go into Navy and Army week and you're just getting blown up. You'd be grumpy too.
And excuse me for stereotyping, but like looking at Caiden, he's a regular looking Caucasian guy. But Holton tells me he's very athletic, right?
Oh, this guy's a freaking fast guy right here.
So,
Cade, we'll have to bring this story up with Donnie when we convince you because Cade would be the special teams. He'd be the special teams kick returner during practice as like the scout team guy. So we would be doing quarterback drills, and then Cade would come over late. And one day Donnie was like, "All right, Caden, line up. We all just ran 40-yard dashes. Go ahead and line up." And we were all dead serious. Donnie was like, "Y'all gotta be serious on this." And Caiden, no kidding, lines up and about runs a 40-yard dash.
He left the worst part off. I walk over there and I just let the biggest sigh out because I just took like 10 kickoff returns back over and over and over. And then Donnie's like dead serious. I was so mad. But then I think I took off and you guys just all stood there.
We just started laughing. Well, Clipper.
Yo.
I know it was a quick one. Caiden, you have anything
I gotta
else
ask
before we let him go?
Clip, what was your favorite game of last weekend?
It's a good question. I love that the 4 headline games we set up, 2 went to overtime and 1 ended on a Will Howard slide, which was a great game.
Yeah, what an idiot.
So I won 2 of them, but I had USC plus 3.5. And I felt so smart that entire game. And I was like, oh my God, Lincoln Riley is going to blow this. That was my favorite game because, again, like for 57 minutes, I was like, man, I killed this bet. This was easy. And then I almost lost it in overtime, but they still won. But that great comeback by Penn State. That was a fun game to watch. A lot of big plays. And the freaking tight end.
Yeah, tied the record for receptions.
What's that gentleman's name?
I don't know his name, but I was excited about it. Yeah. You gotta look that one up.
Did you see the play where he? I'll have to break down that one on film. When he snapped the ball, I didn't even know that was legal. Did you see that?
No, he did a QB sneak.
No, he snapped the ball and then ran out and called a touchdown.
I need to look at that.
I missed that. I watched that game.
We'll have to tweet it. Yeah, I didn't know that was legal. That's like flag football stuff. I did that in flag football.
I missed that completely.
17 catches, 224 yards, and a touchdown.
I thought he was a fullback, and then I found out he has a.
Well, he's wearing 44 too. So
you see a real fullback. Wait till we play Army this week. They have this white dude who's like, no kidding, like looks like a true fullback.
But that was my game because it was a great game and traditional uniform matchup. Great, easy on the eyes, sunny day. Like it was a great 3:30 game.
That was a nice weather environment in Southern California. It was a fun one. I liked the Ole Miss LSU game. I was going with Ole Miss like I always do. I love the lane train, but Joe Sloan at the end of the game cooked something up, didn't he?
I love.
I saw you tweet the post.
I did. Yeah, first play after did they make a field goal? I think Ole Miss hit a long field goal. Mm-hmm. First play, LSU gets it, shot in the end zone, touchdown, ball game. It was awesome.
You want to hear a fun Joe Sloan fact for you?
I'd love to.
So Caiden Norman, myself, is ranked 105th in ECU passing history. Joe Sloan's 103. I'm tied at 105, but he's 103. He has 1 more passing yard than I do. That's a fun fact.
How many yards is that?
So he has 5 passing yards in his career. I have 4.
Yeah.
So how's he behind you?
I'm tied with me. I'm tied with someone. He's in front of me.
He's 103. Caiden's 105.
Exactly.
I was just tripping.
But
there.
fun fact for you.
That is a really cool stat.
I know.
I did not know that.
So when you see Joe Sloan, just know he's 1 yard ahead of Caiden on the ECU history book.
If your guy would have got upfield, who'd you complete your pass to?
I can't remember.
Wow.
How do you not remember? You threw
That's
for 4
crazy.
yards.
I know. I completed 1 pass.
You're such an egomaniac. He doesn't even remember.
Clip, thanks for joining the show, brother.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir. See ya. This podcast is brought to you by Anson Belts with over 10,000 combinations of micro-adjustable holeless belts. Look, summer, you have a little bit tighter. We're thinner then. Winter, get a little more pudgy. Go to AnsonBelt.com. Kate, what's your favorite thing about Anson Belt?
2 things. Micro-adjustable because Thanksgiving and the holidays are coming up, so I'm going to be putting this on some pounds, so loosen up my belt. And then one more. Football season. We got a couple more Pirate games left. Get you that Pirate buckle and support the Pirates with pride.
But we're not getting pudgy. We keep saying we keep saying that as the Anson ad, but we're not getting pudgy, Cade. Why are we not getting pudgy this year?
Clean Eats is going to have us feeling great and feeling good with their convenient location on Red Banks and Arlington Village.
Most of their meals are under $8. Make sure you go check out Clean Eats. Last but not least, mind, body, and soul. Let's keep care of the body. Let's go at Kyra's Floats. Go float 2800 East 10th Street. Cade and I sat there and floated. Pitch black, total darkness, gravity off the body. Man, it felt good. I wish I had it at my playing days. Best thing yet.
I found out you could go by yourself, so I took advantage of that as well, missing you at Holton there, and it was amazing. It really makes you feel right, makes you feel good.
And now welcome in Caiden. Let's go. We've been trying for a while. Donnie Kirkpatrick, Coach K, welcome in, man.
Well, it's good to be here. It's good to see you guys. I know that. Like I say, I've tried to keep up with you guys. Now y'all are in the big time here in the media and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad y'all haven't forgotten who I was.
Oh, absolutely not. Come on now.
Coach, how's retirement? What are you doing these days?
I'm busy. It's busy being retired. You know, there's a lot of golf courses down here at the coast, and I'm trying to play them all. I said it's going to take the first year. My goal is to play 100 times this year, and I'm getting close. So
let's go.
Not that I'm getting much better, but I'm having a lot of fun. And, there's a little pickleball in there every now and then, probably not as much as there needs to be. But I've been traveling a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I have not had the chance to see what the real world's what's going on in the fall. There's actually stuff going on out there.
Yeah.
And so I have traveled around. I've been to some games. I got a few more games I'm going to try to go to. So I haven't just dropped football. It's not like that. I'm still kind of involved in it a little bit, but just don't have that sick feeling in my stomach when I wake up on Saturday morning though. But then I don't really have that great celebration either, like, when we had the good years there too, which we did have some good years there now. So, you know what I'm saying? I know we had a bad one on the last one, but the two before that were pretty good.
Heck yeah, they were. Caiden, me and Caiden were looking at stats before. Do you have them, Caiden? We were talking about who you coached, like, in the record books of ECU, and Caiden was like, he's literally coached like everyone in the record books since.
Yeah, I was looking at like a fun one, like a single season passing stats of people who ranked the seasons in a row, like top passing yards. You've coached every single player in the top 10 except, and it's Holton on here multiple times, and Shane. You coached every top 10 passing season except Jeff Blake.
Yeah, Jeff's a little more toward my age, I guess, a little bit. I wasn't that, but, East Carolina was great. I was very, very fortunate. We had a lot of great receivers, obviously, and too many almost to name. Some of them are still playing, like Hardy. Hardy's still going, a little bit. And I'm trying to get up to Canada. That's one of my goals, is to go see Snead and Hardy. I'm hoping maybe they'll play each other or something so I can go see that game. But, yeah, a lot of good players. And then, Holton made us all look pretty good there for a while too, so we really appreciate him. Well, we will have to brag on him a little bit. It is his show, I guess. So
yeah, Coach. We also had a really good running back named Keaton Mitchell who made us both look good.
Keaton, that I think somebody told me, when you're involved in it, you try not to get too involved in the stats. Those are for after the year and after the career, I guess. And we were like the 7th most explosive team, I guess, in the nation that year. And, there was a couple of times the defense coaches said, could you keep scoring, but just don't score so fast. You know what I'm saying? Well, it's hard to control. The dude's really fast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For real. So you mentioned traveling and stuff, and I wanted to bring this up too, because like kind of shows the person you are to me. And Caiden, we're talking about a little bit, is like you went to go see Mason play. I think his first start, right, at Louisville. Didn't you go to that? Yeah,
it was. Mason obviously is a very special young man, as all the guys have been. But spent the first, I guess, 2 years trying to recruit him to come to East Carolina. And then, he patiently, had to wait behind you, and you were so good for him. And he'd be the first to say that, how you taught him the professionalism to everything. And then when he transferred, there was a couple little months in there where, I wasn't sure that I wasn't going to go back and take another job, and had gotten offered 2 jobs that I ended up not taking, and then interviewed for another one that was a head coaching job that I ended up not getting. And so me and Mason were talking a lot, and Mason was going to come with me, obviously. And, when all that didn't go through, I'd promised him, I said, but I'm still going to be here for you. This is not going to be the end of all this. It doesn't end when we just don't coach you anymore. I said, and I'm going to be there. You're going to go start somewhere. I'm going to be at that first game. And sure enough, he ended up at Austin Peay. And so they ended up playing Louisville, which, I coached at Louisville.
Yep.
Me and Misty still have probably our best friends in the world live in Louisville. They were our next door neighbors, and they were huge Louisville, season ticket holders and the whole bit. So we were like, well, we got to go. We'll go to Louisville. We'll spend the weekend. We'll get a chance to see him. Unfortunately, he got hurt. He was playing really well.
I know. I was watching it. He looked good.
The ball well. They had some drops. They were definitely overmatched. It's a pretty good Louisville team. Oddly enough, Steve Ellis, who had coached secondary there with us at East Carolina, now he's coaching the DBs at Louisville. So we made a weekend of it. We saw Mason, Josie, and unfortunately he got hurt, but I was glad we were there for him. I think he did appreciate that. We got to talk with Steve, and Misty even went and had coffee with his wife the next day. So it was a good weekend, and hopefully he's going to be back. I don't know. I think he's going to be out for a while. He's got hurt his hip, I think is what it was. But he'll be back. We'll go see him again.
Yes, sir. Caden, what do you have?
Now that you, I did not know you were looking at other jobs. Now you got the sweet life of retirement, golfing all the time. You still have the urge to go back, or is retirement too sweet these days?
You know, it is something you could probably fall in love with, not having so many bosses and so many people telling you what to do, and that now just got Misty telling me what to do. So it's always been the deal, but she's pretty good about it. I don't know. I tell you what I really miss. I miss the players. I miss the position meetings. You remember those meetings we used to have? I'm sure you guys didn't think they were that great. Y'all were probably bored stiff in there with us, just watching all that tape and going back over the practices and the game and every little footstep and the whole bit. But, as a coach, that's what I really loved. So the best part of the week, the best part of the day, was like a Tuesday meeting when the quarterbacks got there. Everybody, I just loved Tuesday because Tuesday we were putting that game plan in. There was so much going on. There was so many things we were discussing and watching the tape, and I really do miss that. I miss the coaches as well. You have a lot of close friends in the business, and I've been trying to stay in touch with all the ones that they're all across the country now. But I miss those fun times in there. It's the locker room still. Like as a player, the coaches were kind of like doing that throughout the day with each other.
I miss those meetings with Donnie.
Dude, I was just
I know
I
can't even play anymore, but you always kept them interesting. It could be 40 minutes in, and you always made sure we were locked in off if it was a joke or just something funny you would drop about the other team or just about life. You just never knew what you were going to get, did you, Holt?
No, Coach, you remember when I don't know if I did this when you were there, but every time I would walk in, I would go to the bathroom. I can't hold my pee worth nothing, so I'll go to the bathroom like once.
Yeah, you got a small bladder. You really do. Yeah, I remember that.
So I know where he was going with that. I would go to the bathroom, and every time I'd come back, like Flynn and Mason and Stubby would be like kind of tired. You're like an hour into it, and I would always walk in the room and go, bang! And go in.
Yeah. Yeah,
that was not with me. I don't remember that.
Coach would jump every single time.
Yeah, he got me 17 straight times in a row on that one. I don't know what that says about me, but he did. He would sneak in and come in a different door than he would go out or whatever. Too. So, yeah.
Do you remember? Me and Caden were talking before just about good stories, Coach. Do you remember? Literally right before this, we were saying how Caden, that one time we almost got him to run a 40-yard dash. You almost convinced him to right after he finished.
Yes.
Special teams.
He was down with special teams, and I almost had him convinced that you had to run a 40 for time, and he got over and started stretching, and it was like, "You sure?" And then finally somebody busted out laughing and gave it away. But we just about had him geared up and run that for time. I don't even think I had a stopwatch. I never cared a whistle.
Well, not many people.
I just going to time him by my mouth. I guess it's going to count it out loud.
Well, not many people know this. I used to field the scout team kickoff returns for first team kickoff. And I think I just did like 10 in a row, and you were like straight face looking at me like, no, you got to do it for time. We all just ran 40. It's like coach wants to see everyone's 40 in pads. And I was like, are you kidding? And you had me down in the stands. And I think I actually took off like 5 yards, and I was like, oh my God.
Well, you were smart. You eventually figured it out that we were fooling. But you know what? We'd be over there doing footwork drills and different things, loosening up. And the day you were on the run, all those sprints on the kickoff, whatever, we would have to look over there and watch you and just be like dogs just going crazy over there. Just straight 40-yard dashes in a row. So I guess that's where we got the idea. When he comes over here, we're going to make him run one for time, tell him everybody did it. But
well, you were the reason I ever went over and did kickoff return. I remember they came over one day and they're like, hey, we need someone to field kickoff returns. And you're like, I think you looked at Holton and was like, hey, Caden's kind of fast, isn't he? And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And then I went over there and had a good time. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, let Caden do it. He'll do anything. But, that was some fun things. You're right. Yeah, no doubt.
Coach, Caden brings it up a lot, but when you were on the sideline, I don't know I guess we have talked about this a little bit, but when you were on the sideline the first year, 2019, me and you kind of got into it a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think all the good quarterbacks especially that I've coached, and I've had a lot of them. Charlie Batch started in the NFL for about 4 years with the Lions. Had a good career with Pittsburgh as a backup. Chris Redman's got 2 Super Bowl rings. He was a starter with the Ravens, I guess, for a while, and just so many other guys. Chris Sanders held every record in the Southern Conference when we left Chattanooga. All the guys, Marty Lowe, great player at Louisville I had, and then Brian Shore, who y'all know that helped us there at ECU.
Yep.
Played for 2 national championships. We won the one. He was the National Player of the Year. Me and him, we all got into it. You know what I'm saying? Because just great competitors. And I don't think I would ever trust a guy, that didn't have a little bit of something about him, just a little bit of that pride and just so much, commitment to it and belief, in himself and just, wanting to compete to run our football team, unless they had that, to do that. So I think that always made me feel better about the guys. And yeah, the first couple of years were a little rough. We weren't very good.
Not at all.
We were all frustrated with it because, the first year we had some big games offensively. Now we scored, SMU, Cincinnati. We put up some. So we always felt like we were on the verge of getting pretty good. We weren't having a lot of success though overall. So I guess we all had some moments of frustration. But I look back on those moments as good deals. That's not why I went to the press box though, so that me and you wouldn't kill each other or anything like that. But I did like going to the press box eventually. It's easier when you get to sit down during the game, I guess. You're not quite as tired. But I did miss maybe some of the interaction with the players, from
Coach,
the sideline.
That's a good call out. I know Lincoln, he's called plays on the sidelines. What makes a coach want to stay from the press box or the sidelines and when you're calling a game?
Well, Lincoln now is the head coach, so it'd be really weird for the head coach to be not on the sidelines. So that goes that. But even when he was the coordinator, but I think a lot of it goes just who you learned from, who you worked under. Lincoln was a Mike Leach disciple, obviously, so he knew Leach calling the plays, obviously, as a head coach again. So I think he felt that. It's a little quicker probably to get the plays in. I think you do have a better feel maybe for how the game's going, what the mode is, what's the attitude of the players when you're on the sideline. I think you can make some quicker adjustments. I think if you have younger players, it's probably better to be on the sideline. We made this decision for me to go up, just me and Coach did, just trying to find, it was just in a moment. I think Central Florida was the first game I went up.
Yep.
And we're just trying to find a way to do something different to maybe just to do better. And if you remember, we had a rough first half down there at Central Florida, but then Hope, you hit the big draw play right there before the half, and we went down and scored. We came out, we blocked a punt. And then all of a sudden, Central Florida couldn't stop us. We were rallying. So I think we scored like 28 that day or something, because of such a late surge. After that, just being coach felt like, okay, that worked. Let's stay with that. It does help you to be able to see things up there a lot better, make adjustments. I think once you had played so much, talking to you by the phone, I think was about as good as me being right there beside you.
Yeah, 100%. Like, that's what I want to talk about is like, once we got it rolling, like towards the end of the years, especially like our last 2 years, especially together, like whatever you were thinking, I was thinking, and like we never really felt like, I mean, obviously we always didn't know that, but like we could almost feel what each other was thinking. Like there would be certain play calls where I knew would coming in before it even happened. Like now you don't even have to worry about that with the helmet mic. Like how big of a difference do you think that is for like a college player? Like pros, I understand a little bit because like when I got to the NFL, like you need it for the long play calls, but like college is a totally different story.
Yeah. That's one of the things, and I was talking about that this weekend. Past weekend, I went to see Furman University, which Drew Dudzik, remember Coach Dudzik was with us. He was with me at James Madison and there at East Carolina. I'm very close to him and his family. We went to see them play UT Chattanooga, which, I coached at Chattanooga. I actually coached the secondary there the first year as offense coordinator for a couple of years, and then I was the head coach there. So they were playing each other, so it was a good time for me and Misty to go and then get a chance to see the Dudziks as well. So we went and watched that game over there. All right, now I don't even know what we're talking about anymore now. We're just talking about
the head mic. The helmet mic.
Yeah. Me and Coach Dudzik were talking after the game, and I said, they didn't have the helmet mic. They don't have the iPads on the sideline. It's FCS.
Yeah.
And I said, that's probably one of the three biggest things I said I wish I could have stayed for was to have the microphone in the quarterback's helmet. That would have been so good. We got so sick of everybody in college football stealing the signals and knowing the play. That's just become an obsession, and it was really out of control, I think. And then having the iPad or, whatever, the ability to watch the film on the sideline, that's got to be so much better for making adjustments. It's just got to be phenomenal. And then the new 2-minute warning, which I know we're not calling it the 2-minute warning in college football because they don't want to act like they're copying the NFL, but that's what it is. So now essentially you have 4 timeouts. A lot better chance to come back at the end if you had one more timeout and win a close game, in your 2-minute offense. So a couple of those things would have been nice. I would love to have had the use of those.
Coach, I don't know. You mentioned signals right there. I don't know if you follow Bussin' with the Boys. You got a pretty good compliment this past week when Connor Stallion said ECU had the hardest signals to steal last year.
Did he really say that? I didn't
did.
know that.
Yeah, he actually did.
I had to watch it for an hour and a half before he said it, but around the 1:30-ish mark, he did say the hardest signals took him 2.5 quarters to steal the ECU signals.
Well, I thought I was leading you into the greatest signaler, that we'd ever had, which was the guy that's sitting there beside Holton that did such a phenomenal job that was doing that. But, back to the Michigan deal, that was a good opener. I felt bad for Mason having to go start that one.
Yeah.
His first, real start. I know he had the Navy when Holton played like he had COVID that time, but that's another story for another one of these, I guess. But we had gotten a tip, obviously, from a good friend of mine, Todd Fitch, who was at Ohio State. So in the summer, I talked with them about Michigan and about their defense, and he told me, he said, well, I'll tell you one bit of advice. You better change every signal you've got, and you better have 2 or 3 for each one of those calls because they're professional. They'll have everything you've done. And, we actually had gotten word that they had been at our Cincinnati game the year before, when the deal with people on the sidelines. So, they were sending people out, and it gets publicized that they went and saw Alabama and Clemson and people like that. But they had people at our Cincinnati game the year before is what we had been told. So we did spend quite a bit of time with that and had more than one signal for it. And though we didn't go out there and obviously kick their tail, we had some opportunities, I think, to score some points in that game. I didn't feel like they were, knowing what the play was until in the fourth quarter. They called out a couple of the plays to our players, and how it happened, it was kind of funny. The one receiver, I won't say who it was to keep from embarrassing him, he was having a hard time because we were using 2 and 3 different signals for one play, and he was hauling to the sideline, give it to me again, and the DB told him it's the quarterback draw, RPO.
No way.
That's exactly what Connor Stallion's called out. He said he found the signals when you guys ran the draw play. He knew exactly. That gave it away, and he found out the rest of the signals after you called your first draw play. That's exactly what he said on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I actually watched that movie. What was that, Netflix or something about him too? It was pretty interesting. So yeah, he's good at it. He was good at it. We made him work hard though. At least we made him work hard, I guess.
That's nuts. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I saw he's on it, so I was listening, and then Jack, he's like, hey, he gave ECU a shout out. So I went and watched it, and that's crazy. You mentioned the draw play because that's exactly what he called out. He said only in this formation, I think he said the only run they have is a draw, and that signal they gave for the draw, which I don't know what it was. He mentioned that he saw another school use that draw signal before, and he's like, now I'm on. He's like, I'm on them now, and that's how he got it. But he's like, it was so late in the game when we were up so big, it didn't matter.
It was that late before they called it out. But it was kind of funny that the DB told our receiver what to play. He said, it's a quarterback draw, RPO. I mean, he was pretty specific about it.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine having a DB just tell you that the play?
That's bad.
Now, if you remember, Holton, we ran that play so many times with you. I mean, I have cut ups that would bore the entire world. They'd go to sleep because we'd be on hour 4.5 if we were showing just the number of times we ran that play successfully. Yeah. Either with you hitting the out or even throwing the fade route off of that, or then obviously you're running the ball too. So it was a good play, been a good play for us at JMU as well. It just was a little better play with you there at the helm.
You guys also ran it when Holton was half concussed.
It was always hard to tell. He was always a little crazy. We really weren't ever sure. So how about that? Was that year one when you the guy we were down in the ball? Was it
ODU? I got a concussion. I don't know many fans don't know that.
And you got concussed. And then we had a Thursday night game. I think it was Temple.
Yeah.
So we had a quick turnaround week, and you don't practice hardly you really don't practice all week.
I didn't do anything. I sat in a dark room.
Thursday morning, we're in the walkthrough, and they take you over to the facility to give you the test again. And then I get the word Holton's playing, and I'm thinking, like, I bet his mom's not going to be very happy about this as she knows he's playing. But you know what? I think you played pretty well that night too.
I did. We played them pretty well.
Temple was good then. They were very good. We gave them a pretty good scare in there with Demetrius Mooney playing running back.
That was like the last good year of Temple. I don't know what's happened with their program. Like, they've literally since that year, like our early years, they were tough to play. Like, they still had that like Temple tough mentality. They had a couple of really good D linemen. I think they're one of the first schools, and it's the school level of the American Conference, that started getting hurt by the transfer portal. Yep.
Because remember, they had those great D linemen.
Yeah.
And then they transferred to like Miami and to Auburn and all that too, and that was before it was quite as easy to transfer, but they were doing it through the grad program, those older kids. But, went through some coaching changes there. Obviously, Matt Rule, then to Jeff Collins, and then Stan Drayton's obviously there too. And Stan was a GA for us when I was at Eastern Michigan. Dang. And Everett Withers is the D coordinator. And me and Everett go back. Everett was playing when I was at Appalachian State, so we've known them forever. So I hate that for them. I'm hoping they'll get it turned in the right direction. But I know they've had some rough times here. We had a pretty good game with your last game up there, though.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good win up there. That was Jalen, when you hit Jalen there for the touchdown.
On the country route.
I'm in the press box. What you don't know is the play didn't go on time, and then you had to scramble out a little bit, and you threw it clear back across your body. Probably broke 17 different rules in coaching and playing, what you don't do. And the ball's in the air, which seemed like forever. Yeah. And I'm screaming, no. Way to go, Holton. Yes. What a great throw, the whole bit. So good win for us.
I love it, Coach. You were at ECU. Me and Kay were just looking from, 2004?
2005.
2005, 2015, and then 2019 to 2022. What is your favorite memory as a Pirate?
Well, that's hard because there were a lot of great ones. But, the name of the game is winning. So the conference championships that we won the first one out there at Tulsa, and that one was good. But I think the one we won at home against Houston, Van Estridge intercepted the ball in the end zone. I had recruited Van Estridge and signed him there, and was very close to him and his family. And I think when we'd won the back-to-back conference championships, that was probably about as sweet a day as you could have in coaching right there too. But I will say that it was very close to that satisfying, winning the bowl game with you guys, down in Birmingham, because, when we came back and you had lived through the first year there, things weren't very good. Now, you're talking about bad. Things were pretty bad. So I think COVID threw us off that one year. I think we would have been to a bowl game year two if we wouldn't have lost all those games to COVID. And then the Tulsa, we could have probably gotten a little better call out there against Tulsa.
You think?
We probably could have made a bowl game. Then we didn't get to play the bowl game against Boston College. They pulled out on us. But then to play that one, and, I remember riding on the bus, and you originally weren't going to come back on the bus. You were going to stay or something, but then you got back on the bus, and that was a pretty satisfying moment to ride back on the bus, get on that plane, and fly home, knowing that we had brought the program, back to a bowl win. And you look at ECU, and as much as we all love it, there's not a whole lot of bowl games played period in 100 some years, and surely not a lot of ECU Bowl wins. So that was a pretty satisfying moment. I felt like we'd come a long way, and our hard work had paid off.
Yeah, that was one that, I mean, obviously we'll probably all remember forever. And like, I don't know, it seemed like everything just came together perfectly. Like, even when I look back at it now, I'm like, it feels like a movie almost. Because, like, it just, the game plan, literally everything we thought of and, like, game plan. Like, I remember the double move to Jalen. Like, we didn't hit all week during practice. And then I just yeeted one up. And it was probably one of my better throws of my career. And, like, looking back, I'm like, it literally just was like a storybook ending.
I think it didn't hurt, for our side, not to be selfish because it's a team game. But would we score like 53?
Yeah. And
you threw like 6 touchdowns or something and ran another one in. So, but both, I guess me and you both were, team game, but it was pretty other satisfying another personal level to play that well. And we did, we were just playing so well offensively at the end of the year, minus the Houston debacle, which,
it was terrible.
It still keeps me awake a little bit after we, because we win that Cincinnati game. If Keaton doesn't get knocked out, I'll fight anybody over that. We lost one of our big weapons there, but we score 102 points there in the last 2 ball games of that year. So we were rolling pretty good. I was wishing we had another game. You did. You went and played in the 2 All-Star games and kept playing that good.
Yeah,
I was hoping I wish we could have been in a playoff. That would have been a bowl game, would have put us in a playoff where we could have played again, because at that time I felt like we could beat anybody.
Yeah, that was the belief literally in the program too. And then, like, obviously we weren't going to talk about it too much, but the 2-10 season the next year was like that's what people thought was like it was the transition into it. Like, how hard was that year, and like what factors do you think went into that other than literally losing the entire team? I mean, you guys literally lost the entire team offensively.
Yeah, it's the worst ever, and obviously I've said many times, that's on me, and that's it. And I hate that's the other thing. I hate that so many people remember that year, obviously, because they always remember the last play in the last season instead of the year before. I kid Shank. Shank was the one smart enough to go out and get the game ball and go out on the wing. I said I was never smart. That's why I didn't go to Davidson, I guess, and he did. But yeah, it was a matter of we lost so many players. I mean, we lost 9 starters on offense, and Shane Calhoun was one of the 2 that was back, and he got hurt after the 6th game. Now those things you got to prepare for. I mean, we knew you were going to eventually have to quit playing at East Carolina and go play in the pros. I mean, we knew that. We'd actually been planning on it happening maybe a year earlier. But we weren't planning maybe on, Keaton. There were not a lot of players at East Carolina went out after their junior year. Snead kind of did that, and Blake Pro started doing. We started just, Keaton then all of a sudden came out, and now we've lost Holt. We've lost Keaton too. Noah Henderson could have been back. And again, these were decisions. You guys went to play professional football. That's what it's all about. Get them to graduate and get them to the next level. So we just lost so many of the weapons. We knew Winstead was going to be gone.
CJ left.
CJ left early too, and really we probably really weren't totally expecting that. And again, maybe everybody shouldn't have left. Some should have. Maybe some shouldn't have left. Maybe some should have stayed. But then the other big blow, I think, happened when Avery Jones left. Now, he wouldn't start at Auburn every game. And I don't know. You can't say don't go start at Auburn, I guess. But, he would have been captain of the team. He probably would have been maybe a Hall of Fame player someday, on the walls there at East Carolina. We weren't expecting him to leave. And then Nashad Strother, who's starting at Oregon. So we had probably our 2 best offensive linemen, could have been back. And then, the success of our offense, everybody wanted our coaches. You know what I'm saying? Everybody telling me I should have left. You know what I'm saying? Well, you should have left, and there was some personal reasons why I wanted to stay, though, and I didn't leave. But we lost almost all the offensive coaches as well. It was just so much turnover in one year, and, we just didn't play well, and that part's on me. You know what I'm saying? We didn't play good, but it was really hard to overcome that much change all in 1 year.
One thing I will say, I know you're saying it's on you because that's how you are, but I think a lot of people are realizing now it wasn't on you. So we've had a lot of fans respond to that and say, apologize. They said, Caiden, what were the tweets? They literally said, like, tell him Pirate Nation apologize and we still love him. So, Coach, they still love you.
Well, I appreciate that. I still love them too. So
Coach,
tell them that.
We wanted to give one fan a question. We gave David Pearson the question, and I just thought it was funny. So don't be mad at me for choosing this one.
I'm never going to be mad at you, Governor, because you're going to be the governor of North Carolina someday, and I'm going to need you. I'm going to need you.
I appreciate that. He said, "What was the reasoning for always running up the middle and first down?"
Well, the thing I learned, and we didn't do that, so he obviously didn't pay very good attention to that. I know that there's a saying that where there's 3 or 4 pirates gathered, there's usually a 5th, but you don't have to all drink it before you go into the game, I guess. The fastest way between 2 points is a straight line, though. So, I thought Keaton looked pretty good when we ran straight. But, all those plays aren't designed to go up the middle. The zone play sometimes just cuts back up the middle. But if you looked at us, we were the most balanced team for 3 years in college football run-to-pass ratio, and we threw the ball 47% on first down. So a lot of those RPOs, right? You know what I'm saying? The quarterback had the option to run it or throw it depending on what the defense was defending, what the defense was giving us. And you were good at that. You made the right decision most of the time. Maybe we didn't always make the right decision the last year as much as we had been doing in the past. So sometimes what you learn, well, you surely learn in coaching. I don't know if you learn this when you're a fan or not. I've been a fan going to these games. And be honest with you, I don't pay that close attention to what's going on out there too. Coach Does was quizzing me on it, and I was like, "Hey, Drew, I didn't pay that much attention to the game, to be honest with you." You know what I'm saying? I was enjoying a lot of other things, but you just you go as a fan, you enjoy it, but as a coach, you learn it ain't the plays, baby, it's the players. So when you got good players, we won national championship. I got a bunch of them in the pros, and good players always play good. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
Players make coaches look good. The coach just tries to get the player in the right position too, and recruiting's the number one thing. I can tell you that right now. And
talking about that last year, if you look at that offense, at least from 2022, Zay Winstead played for the 49ers for a little bit, practice squad, still plays. CJ was an all-timer here. Keaton Mitchell, all-timer here, plays. Me, I'm not going to say whatever about me, but I played pretty well that year. On the other side, Jalen Johnson's with the Chargers right now. On the outside, CJ played a little bit outside too, and Jalen played a little bit outside too. Tight ends were Shane Calhoun and Ryan Jones, both will be pro guys. Shane Calhoun's at Texas A&M now. Avery Jones transferred to Auburn, now is in the pros. Nashad starting at Oregon right now, transferred. Noah played in the pros, and then Justin Red played in the pros in the UFL, and then our right guard ended up transferring somewhere smaller. But that has to be one of the more talented offenses in ECU history.
Well, I don't know, and Caiden probably knows this because he's the stat guy, I guess now we know. But in as many years as they've played, I don't know if there has been very many offenses were any better than that. I know that when I was there now, I know everybody's Lincoln's bandwagon here, not necessarily in California right now, but I was on those teams, and we did light it up. We didn't, we onside kicked, we were down, it didn't matter. We just went for everything. But I don't know that there'd been any offenses any better than that. I mean, like I say, you threw for almost 4,000 yards. Keaton ran for 1,400 yards. We had 2,000 yard receivers. We had other guys that had 400 and 500 yards. I think we averaged right at 33 points a game, which I always thought was low. I thought we should have averaged probably 40, like that. But we also led the nation. Now, I'm not trying to get a thing started here because I love those guys. We led the nation in drive starting inside our own 10-yard line, which means we had 90-plus yards to go. So sometimes we had a lot of yards, and it's hard to score, though, when you go 90. The percentage is like 5% you're going to score when you have to go 90 yards. Yeah. So I do think we could have scored some more points, though we did score a lot of points, I think, at times. So, I don't know. That offense, I'm pretty proud of that one, now that I have time to go back and think, and I know you guys are too. So 100%. Amazing talent. We had amazing talent, and it's just hard to at a school like Alabama and maybe some of these places you can reload and have another player that caliber, but it's hard. And in today's world, especially now, I think you're seeing inconsistency everywhere because people that are good are not going to stay and be a backup anymore because they can go transfer. So it's hard to develop them. And that was a lot of guys to lose. You're right. A lot of guys went on to play professional football, so proud of that.
Good times, Caiden. What do you have?
Before we let you go, Coach, we were thinking of like our favorite Coach K memories, and there's so many of them. Of you walking around campus or around Greenville and just acting like you don't see us. That's a funny one.
Oh, he would see us. We'd
or all the meetings. But I think me and Holton have one that stick out a lot, and I'll try to keep it as PG as possible. I'll never forget. We were running Teamo
versus Scout defense.
Okay, versus Scout defense. And there was this, I can't remember who the player was, but he was a Scout defensive player, and he kept breaking the play up, and you just wanted to get it right one time so we could fill it out. And he kept breaking it up, and you were like, losing it, chasing him down. And you're like, if you do it one more time, I will stick my size 8 up your ass. And me and Brian Gagg looked at each other, and we're like, there's no way he wears a size 8 shoe. But maybe you do.
I wear size 9, so I just think you're just one number off. But it isn't. It would have been big enough for it to have been uncomfortable. I hope I got the point across.
No, it was one of the best memories we can remember. And me, Holton, and Brian Gagg, every time we see each other, we laugh.
Because Brian Gagg looked at him and he said, I don't know if he's talking about his shoe or his hammer.
I was trying my best way to keep it PG.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was definitely talking about my shoe.
But
Coach, appreciate you joining. This is why we want to.
It's good to see you. That is the thing. I do miss you guys a bunch, and it's always good to reminisce and have some fun. I wish we had more time, but thank you for the opportunity to come on just so I can be with you guys.
For sure. We'll have to get you on again soon.
Yeah, when I'm done with Wilmington, I'm going to take you for dinner.
All right, let's do that.
All right. See you, Coach.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
This podcast is brought to you by Worth Chiropractic, 2 convenient locations on Arlington Boulevard. Check them out at 1-800-BACK-DOC. Normal back and neck pain, Caiden, or former athletes or current athletes. Go check them out.
Or professional corporate worker leaning over the desk all day, hunching over, and your back's in pain. Dr. Worth will get you right. Hey, Pirate football is coming up this weekend. You might get a little jerky. You might be disappointed and pull it back. Go see Dr. Worth for that as well.
1-800-BACK-DOC. Next, Wayne Hardy Law, 1-800-INJURE. Personal injury lawyer. Look, you're in a car accident. A lot of people are going to be calling you. Make sure you make the call 1-800-INJURE to Wayne Hardy Law. They'll treat you like family.
And that's the Wayne way.
And that's the Wayne Hardy difference, Caiden. Next, Matt Mesquite Goose Club, college, classy, country, everything in between. Look, they have it all. Caiden's a big fan of them. My wallet's with them. My keychain's with them. Caiden, they're great.
Hey, they were great for football season if you support the Pirates or any other North Carolina, South Carolina team. But guess what's coming up, Holt? Hunting season.
Yeet.
Get your camo, get your outfits with Matt Mesquite.
Thanks for supporting the pod.
Now it's the fan segment of the week. I know we had people try to guess the Oregon game. Wasn't really that close.
Yeah.
But we have something better for you. We have James here with us today. James is high school, right?
Mm-hmm, ninth grade.
Ninth grade. And James, reached out to the podcast, mentioned, hey, I want to get into media, podcasting, and he's like, hey, can we come sit on the show? And we're excited for that. How do you enjoy it so far, James?
So yeah, it was nice, just listening in, and my dad's been on the radio for a long time, and I love just talking about sports, so it's a good opportunity.
Nice. What high school you go to?
Oakwood. And, Chris Young kind of reached out to.
Yeah, so Chris Young shout out to Chris Young, by the way. He Little League baseball coach around here. I played against him for a while now. He coached one of my brothers. He reached out and was like, James wanted to get to see the podcast stuff, wants to get into it in the future. So I was like, bring him on. Then I was like, actually, our guest that won the score this week lives in Raleigh. So I was like, dude, James, just come on. Well, you can be our fan segment of the week, man. So you're an ECU fan. You like ECU. Just talk about, your love for ECU and, growing up and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, we didn't really go to many of the football games. We were always in the jungle. We had season tickets to baseball. I started coming to more of the football games in the past 3 years because kind of pretty much of you.
Let's
kind
go.
of brought the team back.
Let's go.
One of probably my favorite memory was watching the Birmingham Bowl.
Yes, sir.
Went against Coastal Carolina.
Yeah.
That was just like a surreal moment.
Let's go, man. Well, what do you think of the setup? It's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, it's nice.
It's I know there's a lot going on other than just what people see on the screen, so it's cool to let fans come in here and do that.
Yeah, it's a lot different than what I thought the studio is going to look like. So
yeah.
So we ask every week everyone's thoughts of the season so far. 1, what's your thoughts of the season? And then 2, what's your thoughts on going to Army this week?
I'm leaning optimistic. Like, I think we can turn around and maybe get to 7 wins. I think 7 wins is pretty realistic. Like, Temple and FAU are good wins there.
Yeah.
But for Army, that's like the best rushing offense in the nation. So
it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, James. Well, appreciate you for joining, man. Glad you got to see the studio. You're welcome anytime if you want to keep studying and seeing how we do things. So appreciate it, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, sir.